Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you in whatever time zone in the world that you may be listening to this podcast. So, probably you are in the gym, or you are taking a time of chilling, or you're probably just walking, or better still, you are dodging responsibility while listening to this podcast. I want to say thank you and welcome to Behind the Veil. So, I'm your host, and my name is Kelvin. With that being said, with all honesty, I'm sorry, but really, the best of man is a man, right? That's the best of us. You are just as we are frail. We're frail. I know I promised. Oh, I was about to release it most likely yesterday. After releasing the previous one, which I, of course, didn't release upper week or last week, as the case may be. But notwithstanding, I'm doing this right now, and yeah, I just must show up. That's what is important. So, guys, how you doing? I hope you're good, and I hope you're fine. And yes, I hope you're trusting in the fatherhood of God. So, moving forward, right? I just thought I should say this because I could remember before I started this podcast that that all of the topics that we've had are not topics that were picked up randomly. They were new topics I just felt, oh, we should just do this, or do that. They weren't guesswork. Before I started, I did the research, or I sent out a Google form, and I did a survey, and the topic that we're having is as a result of this survey. So every topic we are treating is deliberate due to the research that was done before the podcast commenced. So the topics are not guesswork. We're not guessing. We're not saying, oh, let's just bring this, let us bring that, let's do this or do that. There are deliberate efforts to make sure that deliberate efforts due to the survey that was conducted to make sure that we bring light and perspective to the topic. So when I was looking at friendship auditing part 2, and if you were with us before, you will probably be listening to us, you realize that we've been evaluating our lives to see who really are those that are helping us to grow, or those that are just filling up spaces. So that is basically what friendship auditing is all about, which was what we did last week, auditing your friends, evaluating the friends you have. So in the last episode, we look as to why friendship auditing is necessary and the signs you have to look out for when you are reassessing your circle of friends. So right now in this episode, I want to make it more personal. I want to take it quite deeper than the way I did last week. So because let's be honest, let's be sincere with ourselves. Why we choose friends based on my own observation is that it has a lot to do with our personality, it has a lot to do with our faith, religious belief, and it has a lot to do with our experiences. Now, experiences could be shaped from how we've grown, our family background, our values, like how we grew up, starting from where we are kids up to now, in a way play out in how we choose our friends. So if we don't understand these factors, we might keep making the same mistakes in friendship over and over again. So if you have ever found yourself wondering, why am I attracting this kind of friends, or why do I struggle to connect deeply, trust me, man, this episode is for you. So let's even start with personality, because I said personality, I said faith, and I said something as regards past experiences, right? So let's start with personality. This is not the first time we probably heard of extroverts and introverts, right? So we don't choose friends randomly. A lot of times our personality trait plays a big role in the kind of people we attract and keep around. So either you're an introvert, be it an extrovert, of course, it plays a role in the kind of people we attract. For example, as much as I don't even know where to place myself, whether as an extrovert or an introvert, but because some will argue that I'm an extrovert, some would argue I'm an introvert. But and some will say, oh, I'm an ambivert, as the case may be. Because in a way, I'm the type of person that I do not like wood are loud. I love places that are calm as much as possible, as long as I love to vibe with people, but I still love my space, right? But this is not about me, right? Let's make it more practical. Let's go deeper. So what are extrovert, what are introverts, right? So extroverts people love that those that love people, that those that love excitement, that those that love being social. So they attract a wide range of friends, right? But in a way, if we are being observant, we realize that extroverts sometimes struggle to form deep and meaningful connections because in a way they spread themselves thin. Okay, they may also struggle with friendship auditing in a way because they hate the idea of cutting people off. Just in a way, they also have to meet one or two people, so get to make friends here and there. So I'm sure we probably understand what I'm saying. So in as much you'll start making friends, getting to know people, like as much as well as they are cutting off more people, they're also gaining more people. But when you have to compare it side by side with those that are introverts, you understand that they are in a way more intentional, right, about the kind of friends they keep. Those that are introverts, that are introverted, they tend to be more intentional about friendship. They prefer fewer people, and fewer people, and they have a way of having a deeper friendship. They have deeper friendship, right? So they tend to build long-term connections because they are quite more intentional than extroverts, and they might in a way struggle to let go of friends because now the downside is, yes, one, they don't make friends easily, and when they do, they are in a way emotionally attached to those friends they have. So even when friendship is no longer serving them, so because they value history, they value loyalty, that in a way help them to that in a way may affect them emotionally, right? Now, another trait that probably some persons may have, if we are to even look at it again, that may play a role in how we choose our friends or how we make friends or keep our circle of friends. It has or we boil down to another point, which I would say people pleasers. That those that are people pleasers, right? There are those that set boundaries. Those that are people pleasers tend to struggle with setting boundaries. They struggle with There are often times that keeping draining friendship longer than necessary. They're always saying yes when they really want to say no. While for those that are setting boundary, they understand that not everyone deserves full access to their lives. Not everyone, like if they do anyhow, of course they're getting anyhow. They know how to position the friendship where they belong. So in all of these are personality traits, and they in a way impact how we make friends. They in a way impact how we keep our friends, right? Now, if we now want to take it a bit further, and I said, oh, the second one is religious belief, the faith. Now, someone may be wondering, in a way, how does our religious belief shape the kind of friends we keep? How does in a way does it help us or limit us in getting or accessing new friends or making new friends? So our religious belief or faith in general plays a major role in who we surround ourselves with. They play a major role in those who call a friend, whether this person will have access to us, whether this person will have deeper connection with this person. So if you are a believer listening to me, for those of us that are Christians, we would know that our friendship should always align with our faith. Our friendship should always align with our convictions. They should always align with our value system. And let's be real, many times, they don't. One of the things that actually define us as believers, if we are being honest, that define our core values, that set the boundaries of our relationship with people, is First Corinthians chapter 6 verse 14, which is actually a popular scripture, and it says, oh, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. So I see that we have attributed the verse to marriage, but I not I think, but I feel it should apply to all forms of relationships, because that doesn't necessarily mean we should cut people off who don't share our faith with us, because there are many people that have run successful businesses with people of the opposite faith because they share the same value and the business is successful. But one thing it does mean is that we should be mindful of who we let to have access into our lives, because of course friends shapes our decisions. Now, not to talk of marriage, because of course that is even a different that is of course a different ball game. But when it has to do with friends, of course we should mind who have access to us, especially when we call them friends. So if you are, let's take for example, or let's use this logical example. So if you are trying to go spiritually and your closest friends are those that are not there to in a way challenge you or to build you up, let's go straight to the point, they're always mocking you. There will always be a friction between you guys' relationship. There will always be a tension. So it's not about looking down on people, but it's about protecting your growth. Right? It's all about protecting your growth. See, faith-based relationship should push you closer to God. It should help, it should boost your relationship. It should boost your life with God. So friends that are close to you helps to encourage you. They should encourage you. They should help to encourage your convictions. They should be able to pray with you. They should be able to, in fact, hold you accountable. Right? Though worldly relationships may be fun, it may be pleasurable, of course, but they would constantly rather pull you into situations that would make you question your faith, that would make you compromise on your values, and of course in the long run they are not healthy. So there is a story that I know, or let me say I read of a particular lady, I think by the name Shoma, right, who struggled with balancing her spiritual growth with her friends, because she doesn't in a way want to seem too deep in quotes. She doesn't want to seem too spiritual. So, but she like in a way she doesn't want to be seen as one whose relationship with God is too much. But she also felt convicted every time she compromised on her values, which of course she would compromise on her values because of the people she's rolling with. So eventually she let go of those friends. She found a new circle that encouraged her in her faith, that encouraged her with her fire, and it all made the difference. So friends, our religion, and our personality traits, which I believe we understand now, shapes the way we make friends. If we are being honest, they shape the way we even choose our friends, choose our circle of friends. Now, going to the third one, which I may want to dwell on, is how past experiences affect the way we choose friends. Now, each and every one of us, we all grew up in different political arena. We all grew up with different background. We all grew up, of course, with different upbringing, and we may not necessarily look at this. We may not probably have noticed it, but our upbringing, our past experiences, our environment in which we found ourselves, especially where we were born, up to this point in time, shape how we view friendship. So if you are the type of person that grew up in a home where loyalty is everything is loyalty, if you are not being careful, you might struggle to let go of friendship so easily, even when they become toxic. What if you had parents who constantly let you down? You may find yourself drawn to relationships that are always one-sided because it seems familiar. Say, this is how it is, this is how I grew up with, this is how I grew up with, this is what I'm familiar with, so I think this is how the world should evolve, or this is how the world evolve. So how we grew up, our upbringing, in a way shapes how we view the world, and that affects not just us, it affects everything about us, down to the friends we make. Okay, so yet is another example, other familiar example I read. So there's this guy who always found himself in friendship where he's always the one making the effort. Of course, there are people in relationships that it's just one person that's making the effort. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about friendship right now. So when he was being sincere, I guess he had to see a therapist. So he had to trace it back. Then he realized that he learned all of this pattern from his childhood, where he always in a way had to earn love. So once he understood it, he started to choose healthier friendship, very healthy friendship, because he was able to sit down sincerely and ask himself questions. He was able to date back and trace is the pattern where it all began from. So another thing again, aside our childhood and family influences, that is our childhood upbringing, our upbringing processes, and family influence. One thing that could actually serve as that could actually impact when it comes to all of this is if we are type of person that we've had experiences with betrayal, if we are type of person that probably had experiences with people breaking your trust. No matter how deep you trust, no matter how well you trust, people are always breaking that trust. That will affect your relationship, that will affect your friends, how you choose friends. So if you've been betrayed before, you might keep people at a distance even when they genuinely care about you. And of course, it's no fault of yours, but because you've had experiences of people betraying you, you've had experiences of people manipulating you, you've had experiences of people taking advantage of you when you were genuine. So you might, going forward, you might struggle to trust anyone's intention. You will struggle to trust anyone's intention. So in all of this stuff, how can we even navigate? How can we do better? How can we, because believe it or not, our personality traits, our faith, and yes, our experiences, the experiences we've had from childhood, shape the way we make friends. We shape the way we even audit our friends. Believe it or not, there are people that grow up with trauma and they do not know that it's trauma. There are people that, yes, they may not have gone with trauma, but yes, they grow up in love, with love at home, but they end up going outside, they end up interacting with people, they end up, well, because of all of this stuff, just in a way impact them. So now what is the way forward? Because looking at all of this, right, it affects us, it affects how we view the world, it affects how we access the world, it affects how we interact with the world, it affects our viewpoints, it shapes our ideologies, it in a way shapes our philosophies. So one thing I will do in the next episode is to talk about auditing friendship with clarity, where we would answer the questions: do my friends reflect my values, and where I want to be in life? Or am I just keeping friends out of loyalty, or are they truly in a way adding value to my life? And sometimes you need to sit down and ask yourself question: are you even adding value to the life of people you call friends? Because I know I'm talking about the friends that we keep, are they adding value to my life, and so on and so forth. The friends that you keep, true, are they adding value to your lives? But let's also be sincere. Are you also adding value to the lives of people, to the one you call your friend, the one you call your best friend? So in conclusion, do not forget, your friends are shaping your future. So of course, would evolve into something else, will evolve into something better. But if your circle isn't helping you grow, you should reassess it. So personally, whether it is faith, your religious belief, or probably your past experiences, which of course they all play a role in who we choose as friends. But at the end of the day, you have the power to decide who have to get access to your life. Just have to be intentional about it. So the bottom line is quite simple. So during the last week topic, I spoke about auditing your friends through wisdom, right? That for me is the bottom line. That for me is exactly the bottom line, because we need to ask God for wisdom. We need friends, yes, but we have to be intentional about the friends we keep. and we need God to help us audit our circle. So I believe that we've learned one or two things by God's grace. I believe that this podcast has added value to you and is to keep on adding value to you by God's grace. So please stay tuned. Turn on your post notification so that when another episode drop, you would know. You definitely will know when another episode drop. So until next time, I know I promised this is coming late, but notwithstanding, it's coming later than I promised. But notwithstanding, the next one will come at the exact time, which is Wednesday. The exact time it should come. Yeah. So please be intentional about your life. Be intentional about the friends you keep. Add values to the life of people around you, and also reassess to know if they add value to you. Because it's not one-sided. Every relationship should be mutually beneficial. Okay. Until next time, stay safe, take care, and bye-bye.